Welcome to Car2. The big three American automakers typically dominate the full-size SUV market, but the 2022 Nissan Armada goes into battle equipped with some important updates, helping it to remain competitive. Nissan introduced the second-generation Armada for the 2017 model year, though its bones actually date back to 2011 when Infiniti launched the more luxurious QX56, now called the QX80. Masking a decade-old platform is no easy task, but Nissan facelifted the Armada last year, giving it updated styling and several important interior upgrades. Under the hood, the Nissan Armada rolls with a tried-and-true 5.6-liter V8 engine from the original first-generation model. Though it's not the most efficient option in the category, Nissan can claim best-in-class standard output with 400 horsepower and a meaty 413 pound-feet of torque. This gives the Armada a strong 8,500 lbs tow rating. The full-size segment is stronger than ever with a new Chevrolet Tahoe and GMC Yukon, an updated Ford Expedition, and Jeep's new entrant, the Wagoneer. Can a facelift help the 2022 Nissan Armada remain relevant in an ever-crowded space? For our Armada review, we spent a week driving a Midnight Edition Armada to find out. Nissan gave the Armada a thorough facelift last year, so the 2022 model year is mostly a carryover. The most significant addition is a new one-touch power folding third row for the top Platinum grade. Pricing for the 2022 model year increases by approximately $400 across the board. The facelifted Armada's exterior is a giant leap in the right direction compared to the old car. It used to have a droopy face that reminded us of Eeyore. The facelifted model just looks more amped about life in general, thanks to a more rugged V-design grille surround and a square jawline. The new LED headlights look incredibly cool, and the rear is also a design success. The redesigned taillights are now connected by a chrome strip, which works better with the protruding rear bumper. S and SV models ride on 18-inch 12-spoke wheels, while SL and Midnight Edition models get 20-inch alloys. The top-spec Platinum rides on an impressive set of 22-inch 14-spoke alloy wheels. The SL trim and above receives a power-sliding glass moonroof as standard. As mentioned, the old-school 5.6-liter received a power boost last year. It's nowhere near enough to notice, but the 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet outputs are good for the segment, although there are more powerful rivals to choose from. These big V8 lumps tend to provide more grunt at lower RPM, but the Armada's 413 pound-feet only arrives at 4,000 revolutions per minute. The Armada never feels slow or hesitant, but you can't help but glance over at the power output of the new Toyota Land Cruiser and its twin-turbo V6. It produces 479 pound-feet of torque. We know the new Land Cruiser isn't available in the US, but the engine will end up in the new Lexus LX and possibly other models in the future. The 7-speed automatic gearbox is equally old school, but it's still modern enough to not be annoying. It's a bit lazy to kick down, but the car hurls forward accompanied by a faint V8 burble when it does. Most manufacturers engineer large luxury SUVs to be sensory deprivation tanks, and Nissan does the same. The cabin does allow some of that satisfying V8 noise to siphon in when you push it hard, which is somewhat gratifying. It somehow makes the fuel bills less damaging to the soul. While Nissan USA removes most of the serious off-road mechanical bits, the Armada remains a car that was designed to spend a large chunk of its life off the beaten path. It floats pretty well over imperfections, but you can feel the Armada's bones are a decade old based on how the vehicle rocks like a boat when it rolls over large dips. As we found on our test drive, the suspension setup is compliant around town, so the kids certainly won't be complaining about potholes and such. That being said, the Armada is still a body-on-frame SUV. It tries hard but fails to disguise its humble roots on the freeway. The Armada doesn't feel dangerous, but the steering is vague at highway speeds. There's also a noticeable dead spot in the steering when it's pointed straight ahead. We initially thought this was limited to our test car, but some research reveals that it's pretty much standard. Though the steering feels vague on center, it provides pretty nice feedback after initial turn-in, a positive side effect of the older steering setup. Treated gently, and the Armada should be a good long-distance cruiser. As for off-roading, the Armada can handle more than most, but it is limited by the lack of locking differentials. Add aftermarket units, and you'd be surprised what this car can do. Without the differential lockers, it's still outstanding in soft sand. We've been lucky enough to drive an Armada in Dubai's dunes, and it's ridiculous how easily this large SUV just laughs in the face of humongous dunes. In low range, with the tires running a barely discernible sigh, it feels unstoppable. Out there, you also realize why the steering is so vague. Dune driving requires a lot of steering input. You basically sit there hoofing it, sawing away at the steering wheel. If the Armada had a faster, more direct rack, the Dubai desert would be lined with toppled Armadas. Locally, the Armada is perfectly capable of handling snow and rain. The permanent 4x4 system ensures power is always going to the front and rear, giving you massive amounts of confidence in slippery conditions.